I'm Greg Hunter. This is the weekly news wrap up for Friday, August 7th, 2015, the WNW 202. Congress is in recess. The House and the Senate, they've gone home for vacation. They won't be back till about mid-September, but that's not stopping the Obama administration and President Obama from pressuring mainly Democrats into voting for his deal with Iran to curtail its nuclear program. I think it almost looks desperate to me. He's out making speeches. He's out saying, well, it's this or war. And that's a false narrative. That's nobody on the Republican side or even the Democrats are saying this or war. They're saying this bad deal or maybe a better deal. That's what most people are saying. But President Obama is saying, well, if we don't sign this, we'll surely go to war. That's not what I talked about this last week. A top French diplomat didn't say that. He said, we'll probably get a better deal. But this is a big push by the Obama administration and President Obama to get, not Republicans, because the president knows that the Republican House and Senate, they control the House and Senate, they're not going to vote for this. This is going to get voted down. What this is about are Democrats. And he also knows Democrats, many Democrats are going to vote no on this deal. He knows it. What this is about are the Democrats needed to sustain his veto. Surely this will go through the House and Senate. No in the House, no in the Senate. Goes to the president's desk. He's going to veto it, which means, hey, it goes through. Or he vetoes it, and the veto is overridden. Now he wants as many Democrats as needed to sustain his veto. He needs at least 34 in the Senate. And might I tell you that leading up to this in April, the House and the Senate voted overwhelmingly, that they get to take a look at this deal and get to look at it for 60 days before that this deal goes into effect. Before the United States portion of the deal goes into effect. And I think this is going to be a really tough, close vote to sustain the veto. A foregone conclusion, the House and the Senate are going to vote it down. Boom, no. And that's what we're talking about. Can the president get enough Democrat votes in the House and the Senate to sustain his veto, or is his veto overridden? Might I tell you that not only was this overwhelming, but in the Senate they voted 98-1 to get a look at the deal. There's only 54 Republicans in the Senate. So they voted overwhelmingly to take a look at the deal. And there are lots of Democrats, for example, Menendez out of New Jersey. No, he's not voting. No way. I find it hard to believe Chuck Schumer is going to vote yes for this, coming from New York. I find it very hard to believe that he's going to vote yes on this deal. And then the other problem is the release to the public of information. There are, more than 16, 17 documents that are not classified that the White House is holding as if they were classified, doesn't want to release them to the public. Now, the Congress gets to see this, but the public doesn't get to see it. And then there are these secret side deals, the not-so-secret side deals. I mean, Kerry and his top negotiator, they don't know what's in the final secret side deal. Kerry actually testified in front of Congress, said, I don't have access to them. His number two, who was mainly responsible for negotiating the deal, says, well, I saw the outline, but I didn't really see the final. What? I mean, the side deals are with the UN inspectors that are going to be inspecting Iran's nuclear facilities. What's in the side deals? And if this was such a great accomplishment for President Obama, then why in the world don't you release all the documents that aren't classified? There's only one or two that are, quote, classified, but lots of documents aren't being released to the public. And, I have to defer to the Iranians on this. They've been very clear about this. The deal's unambiguous. When this deal goes through, we get our money, sanctions are over, and you don't get to inspect our military sites. That's what the Iranians have said from the beginning, for a couple of years. It's pretty sad when the Iranians communicate a lot clearer than our own government. So it's going to come down to, whether or not he has enough to override the veto. And the other thing is that this veil of secrecy around the deal, it's kind of like the Trans-Pacific Partnership that the Republicans pushed through. It was such a great deal. Let's see it. That's what Elizabeth Warren said. That's what I say. If it's such a great deal, if you're so proud of it, let's see it. Nope, classified, secret. And, a lot of this information is being withheld from the public. It's not so much secret, but they're not releasing it to the public. Only the, the members of Congress can see it. And then the side deals. You don't know what's in the deals. I mean, either you're stupid or you're lying. You don't know what's in it. You want us to vote for it. You don't know what's in this. You don't know what the inspectors are going to be doing. You don't know what they've agreed to. Really? But we're supposed to vote for it? Come on. Veto override or no veto override is the overarching question with the Iran nuclear deal. Plenty of economic news out that says that the economy is not good. What have I been doing since 2009? That we don't have a real recovery. We have a recovery on Wall Street. The stock market recovered, but we don't have a real recovery. And here is just a headline from USA Today, which I'm surprised ADP says fewer jobs added in July, I should say. Fewer jobs added in July. The unemployment numbers aren't going to come in good. And then the other thing, when you drill down on the unemployment numbers, the jobs that they are creating are part-time jobs and low-paying jobs. And according to John Williams at shadowstats.com, if you calculated unemployment and underemployment the way it was done in 1994 and earlier, we'd be around 23%, as it's been since President Obama has been in the White House. 21, 22, 23, somewhere in the low 20s, and it's around 23% unemployment rate right now, according to the calculations the government used to do, Bureau of Labor Statistics, 94 and earlier. We don't have a good economy for Main Street. We had a great economy for Wall Street. Lloyd Blankfein's a billionaire. But we don't have a recovery. And there are plenty other signs that the economy is not doing well. I mean, the market is off, 900 points since May. And might I say, I'll plug my friend Gregory Mannarino, who doesn't know I'm doing this. I guess he does now because he watches this every week. But, he said that the stock market was at a top about then. He said it might go up and down a little bit, but I think it's about at a top. Well, 900 points later, down. I'd say he's looking awful right about now. He also said there was we had peak debt, that we couldn't grow the debt anymore. And Puerto Rico, kaboom, Moody's says that they defaulted on their debt. They can't borrow any more money. Or that at the rates they were borrowing at. They have something like $2 or $3 billion in debt, and they're not paying it back, and they're not going to pay it back. Peak debt. Another canary dead in the coal mine, along with Greece and all the other countries that are in big trouble debt-wise. Also, some stock, the Chinese stock market has been in a virtual free fall until they've, had many interventions over there. The U.S. stock market, according to Dr. Mark Farber, who's a PhD in economics and also a renowned economist, says, the U.S. stock market could, come off 40%. It could crash 40%. He said that recently. Also, a couple of big stocks that I thought was surprised. Apple, pow, it got hammered. Disney, it missed, hammered, down 9%, in a day. All signs things aren't good. And what's coming is not small, it is big. And that's why a lot of people are saying things about it. I remember a few weeks ago, Carl Icahn was talking about, the stock market looks toppy to me. Other people have been making big, comments about that things aren't looking good. And then this headline. Now read this headline. JP Morgan tops U.S. international bank risk list. This is in USA Today in the money section on Thursday, right here, USA Today. And I'm thinking to myself, why this headline? Why this report now? I mean, JP Morgan topping the U.S. international bank risk list? That doesn't sound good to me. That sounds like, we're supposed to be in a recovery. Shouldn't JP Morgan and every other bank be doing great? Citigroup came in. Citi came in number 3 on this list. Another U.S. bank. Shouldn't these banks all be getting much better? I mean, didn't we print trillions of dollars and hand it over to these guys? And didn't we have 0% interest rates? And didn't we do all this stuff basically to prop up the banks? And they're still in big trouble? What? Somebody needs to be fired. I for the life of me, what did JP Morgan lose in fines and restitution and losses? $30 billion? I mean, they could have bought Dell Computer and had, $4 or $5 billion left over. How does he have a job? So plenty of signs the economy isn't doing well. Bill Holter is going to be on talking about the official warnings that have been given by just the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and the Bank of International Settlements, the BIS. since July of 14, they've been out with one warning after another, more than a warning a month, including from the Bank of International Settlements a couple of months ago, that if there's another financial meltdown, that the central banks are out of bullets. Basically, is what they said. They're not going to be able to do anything the next time we have a big meltdown. Ooh, that's reassuring. And why those warnings, and why they've been giving these warnings. And Bill Holter will talk about that. He'll talk about gold. He'll talk about China not going to be allowed, supposedly, according to the IMF, in the SDR currency basket, the special drawing rights currency basket, and what effects that may have. And he's gonna be on first up next week. Bill Holter, he's from JS Mindset Now. You won't want to miss it. He enlightens us with some of his analysis of what is going on, and it's not good. California is on fire, and it's in that severe drought. And let's just start with a picture, because after all, it's worth 1,000 words. Here's a drought monitor, most recent drought monitor map of the U.S. And over here there's some dryness in North Carolina. Not bad though, it's not terrible. But look at the West. Look at the West, and Texas finally got a lot better. Still has some drought in Texas, Louisiana, but really when you look at the West, and Arizona and Utah, Nevada, California, ground zero, it's on fire. Oregon, Idaho, western Montana, eastern Washington State. Oh my! But California's the big story. They've had a couple of dozen wildfires. They got 10,000 people trying to keep this under control. It's unbelievable. I mean, then they're also having what they're calling dry thunderstorms. Yes, storms with lightning and wind, but no rain. What a freak show that is. And take a look at California. This is a state with 38 million people. Huge agricultural state. Huge state for vegetables and almonds and all kinds of agricultural products. And all of the state is in a drought. And I'd say probably 2/3 or a half in this red color here. Let me show you here. This red color is the most severe. It is terrible. And might I remind you, and I've said this before, NASA estimated back in March of this year that California had about a year's worth of water yet left. A year's worth of water left back in March. I mean, we're getting on we got 6-7 months left before it's going to be March again. 8, 6, 7 months. And this is a state with 38 million people. And what are they doing to get more water? What are they doing? This is serious, and it is not getting better. It is not. I'm worried about the people in California. The presidential debates for the GOP happened last night. And, listen, we're 14 months away. It's hard to say, they won, or they're going to do. Whoever wins or loses or whatever, it doesn't mean much. It might mean something in terms if you do well, you get some more money. I think Carly Fiorina in the first round of debates, it did pretty well. And I think Fox was really smart that they said, okay, we're going to have 2 tiers of debates, the top 10 and then everybody else. And that way everybody gets seen and heard. I thought that was smart, and I thought that was fair. I do. But the other part of the debates that people are overlooking is who's going to be the vice presidential candidate. Folks, it is not going to be 2 white Anglo-Saxon guys. It won't. Not going to happen. It's going to be, it may be the presidential candidate will be a Hispanic or somebody of color or a female, who knows. But if not, then if it's Walker or Jeb Bush or Trump or one of the top tier guys now, and who knows how this will shake out in 14 months. We're 14 months away from November. Then I like for vice presidential candidates, Ted Cruz, Hispanic, Marco Rubio, Hispanic from Florida, Cruz, Texas, Ben Carson. Fantastic, would be a fantastic vice presidential candidate. Although if he doesn't get in there, I think they'll try to say, hey, why don't you run for Senate somewhere, because you'll win, because black and white people will vote for you, lots of them. Like Tim Scott in South Carolina. He was elected by a landslide of white people. It's so racist down there that white people decided to send one of their 2 senators, a black man, to Washington. But I also think that's the reason why that Tim Scott doesn't get a lot of publicity, because the mainstream media doesn't like the narrative, they just don't like that. Bobby Jindal, also a man of color, a big governor in the state of Louisiana, and Carly Fiorina, the only woman in the field who did well at the debates. Carly Fiorina is a possible for vice presidential candidate. And all these people could be possibilities for a cabinet as well, but that's the sub-story going on, at least at this point. And I'm surprised Jeb Bush isn't doing better than he is. I mean, he's got the most money, but he's not doing the best. And I don't know. One thing's for sure, Donald Trump's not going to run out of money. He's not going to run out of money. So that's not going to happen. But the other big story, I think, that's out there is the lack of debates or lack of even having a debate planned for the Democrats. And some Democrats got to be mad about this. I saw one poll of Democrats, 40% of just the Democrats poll thinks Biden should run. And he's not in there yet. And Bernie Sanders is about even with Hillary, but considering that he's got about a tenth of her money, he's really doing way better than her. And I think that Hillary Clinton has a lot of baggage. It'd be smart for the Democrats to be thinking about, somebody else that might run. She had a lot of baggage with her, her charity that looks like a bribery scam, and also her email accounts, her private server, and how they handled, sensitive national security information. I mean, her lawyers got something on a thumb drive, and her own private server, and what emails went where, and who hacked into it, and there's an FBI investigation into it now. And listen, if Barack Obama wanted an excuse to dunk Hillary Clinton, this is a good excuse. This is a legitimate problem. I mean, General Petraeus had a stack of papers this tall in his desk drawer, and Hillary Clinton has a server that was probably hacked by Russia, China, who knows who, and created some apparently what appears to be some national security faux pas, at least if she didn't just out and out break the law. And I say Hillary's not going to make it, no matter what. For some reason, whatever reason that is, she's not going to make it. Is this going to be what takes her down? I don't know, but she's got a lot of baggage, and I think at some point the Democrats going to be, what again? At some point, I think they're going to have they're going to make a choice to move away from her, or they're going to be forced to move away from her. I don't know. Finally, I've been harping on this, and I just want to tell you this is the first story that I've seen in the USA Today newspaper. It's an opinion piece, and get the title here. Planned Parenthood, let me get it out here. Here you go. Planned Parenthood acts badly, but don't defund it. They acted badly. What? Huh? If you read this newspaper, you did not know what went on with Planned Parenthood. They did not cover it in this newspaper. They recently, this week they did, the time that he attempted to defund it and that didn't go through, they covered that. But they have not covered it in this newspaper until their opinion piece. So if you understand this, you got your news from somewhere else. Are the people at USA Today that stupid, that politically far left, that they are willing to basically impugn their integrity, and they are willing to lose money on a huge story that has lots of shoes to drop? Lots of shoes to drop. I will give them some credit. They on their opinion page, they do have another opinion on this story, which, of course, if you went to their website, you had to search for it. They buried it, in my opinion, on their website. But let me just give you the phrase here. Incidentally, according to USA Today, they say, according to their opinion page, the videos raise troubling questions about how far Planned Parenthood doctors are willing to go to collect intact specimens, how broadly collection is conducted, why the cost would differ among affiliates, and whether the century-old group is treating this work with respect and sensitivity it deserves. Of course, they say that don't defund it, there's no smoking gun. That's their opinion. I'm paraphrasing that part of it. And then we have this side. No tax dollars for organ harvesting. This is what we're talking about. Not only that, we're talking at one of the videos, they were talking about, after the baby, you don't want to drug the baby and ruin the organs. After it comes out, then we can, cut the baby up any way we want. You're talking about cutting up a live human. And the opposing view, which I'm surprised they actually put any other view in, is from Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma. And he says, and Let me just read this one small paragraph. Many Americans believe these unborn lives are fully human. When Planned Parenthood sells unique human organs to research labs, by definition, they had a unique human, or they have to be unique human lives when they were aborted. These organs cannot just be tissue. Cannot be just tissue. The exact quote, in the womb, but later sold as the liver, heart, or brain of humans. How this is not a huge story for the newspaper, I will never know. But Cease the Lion, we'll give you all the updates on that. That's the way I see it. I'm Greg Hunter. Thank you for participating in the website with your comments. Thank you very much for the donations some of you give. That helps us out. I'm Greg Hunter. Remember, fear not. Prepare yourself physically, mentally, and above all, spiritually. Fear not, my friends.